Hi everyone, today we have a new video review, and in this video I will tell you more about the new P-47D-28RA. So it's a Thunderbolt. In 1/48 scale it might be one of the best kits of this aircraft. And now I have here another version, it's so-called Pacific Theater of Operations. As you can see, there will be quite colorful markings, and the kit number is written there in the corner. It's 48022. It's worth noting that we are dealing here with the basic kit, so it means there will be a bit less features, but you get all this for a bit more reasonable price. So the box art is very colorful, and it would be cool also to have this as a poster, but unfortunately Miniart does not do this stuff, and I really hope that they will start to. So the box size is typical for this brand. Here you can see comparison with my hand, and here on the side you can see also some information about the manufacturer, some safety advices. And on the opposite side you can see also 3 marking options, as well as they mention that the decals are coming from cartograph, which is, I would say, a standard for recent releases from Miniart. It's a top opening box, and here is what we have inside. So I would say it's more of a tight packaging, and as you can see everything is sealed into one plastic bag, and even assembly manual and decals are sealed. So we are going to start with the plastic parts, and then gradually we will move on to other bonuses which are included here. And while I'm opening this plastic bag, I can also remind you that you can check other reviews of the P-47 kit from Miniart on the same channel which you are watching at the moment. So I reviewed the various versions of this kit. They turned out quite nice. I even made the comparison with an older Tamiya kit, so in case you are interested, all of this is on DetailScaleView channel. Okay, so we are going to start with the first gray plastic sprue. I will just brush off the dust. And here's the sprue. I'm trying to find the letter. It's a sprue B. So here we have the parts for mainly external features. Maybe I will try to open the lenses so that it won't be that dark. And as you can see here, we have the, for example, rudder, we have the tail wings, we have the elevators, and also we have some parts for the wing mechanization, as well as for the landing gear covers. So everything has a really nice external features. If I zoom in here into those tail wings and landing gear covers, you can see that we have rivets and also the panel lines, so everything looks really great for this scale. And of course the only thing which is required from you is not to lose all of these details, because I know some modders like to apply a thick layer of primer and paint, and that's where the interesting things begin, let's say. Next we continue with the sprue GC. So here we have nicely detailed engine, and maybe it's worth doing this, zooming in and just scrolling through the whole sprue, because as you can see, out of the box, even in the basic kit, you get a really nicely detailed engine, so everything looks great, and it's not a shame to expose it with a removed cowling. But of course it's your call whether you would like to do so. On P-47 engine is visible even with the close cowling, so that's not an issue for sure. Next, we continue with the landing gear wheel parts, and I just need to take out the sprues. So as far as you can see, the sprue is the same. I will show you only one. It's a sprue CD, as far as you can see, and just give me a moment. I will place it here and zoom in a bit. Now you can see that here we have the plastic landing gear wheels, so everything looks really decent for out-of-the-box things we get without paying extra. Note that we even have the weight effect, something what is not that I would say often met in aircraft kits. And here in the opposite side you can see that there are some guiding elements which will help you with alignment. So what I would say is that such thing is okay for out-of-the-box build, and it should look great, but in case you would like to have more features, then you should go obviously for the 3D printed or resin parts. Next we have the propeller blades, so they are molded separately and should be combined together with the propeller hub. Such design is still quite easy to work with. As you can see, attachment points are placed not on the blades, so it's also an easy thing to separate. And of course the overall shaping and thickness is really great. I can see that the edges are almost translucent, so the thickness is up to scale in my opinion, but of course I would be happy to hear your opinion about this thing. Next we also have, I almost skipped over, but these are the panels for the wing as far as you can see, so everything looks decent, and I would say it's pretty much the same level of details as what we saw on the tail parts or tail surfaces. Here we start with the first fuselage half. It's the left one, obviously. So the most noticeable thing is that we get the tail fin pre-molded. We also get the recessed panel lines and rivets. So everything looks really great. And as for the cockpit, it will be assembled separately. But what is important is that we get the guiding elements. And this will help you with overall alignment. It won't be problematic because the part is quite large. And I think it's important to have the proper position of those elements. Next, we continue with the, I would say, interconnection of the sprues. And here, as you remember, we have the external equipment for this aircraft. It means bombs, fuel tanks, and those are supplied in several types. So obviously you won't use all of them at once, so that's why it's really great thing to get in 1/48 scale. Some brands are still not doing this and trying to push you to get some aftermarket. Well, still, here, as you can see, it's not the case. You just get it out of the box and you are good to choose whatever you would like to see on your model. Next, we continue with another plastic sprue, and I'm just looking why we have two of them. Probably due to the different types of these cockpits. So as you can see, these are the cockpit parts, and we have them designed in pretty much the same styling, but as you can see, some of the features are different. I guess it depends on the version of the aircraft you will be trying to copy, but again, out of the box they look really great. It just requires a bit of the careful painting, picking out all of the details, and you'll be having a really nice workplace out of the box without necessity to get some aftermarket for extra money. Next, I'm opening another plastic bag. Here we have the Canopy, and I just need to open it. Just give me a second. Okay, so it was packed into the separate plastic bag, and as you can see here, we have the canopy parts. Obviously, the main section is molded separately, so it's just a matter of deciding whether you would like to have the open canopy or not. And masks are not included, so that's where I would recommend to get the aftermarket, because Thunderbolt canopy is quite tricky in shape, so that's why it is important to get the nice paint work on it. Next, we continue here with the right fuselage half, so pretty much the same design, and if I flip it over here, we have again the guiding elements, so that's good. Next, we have the sprue with more landing gear wheels, and this one's, as far as you can see, without the weight effect. So if I zoom in, you can see what I'm talking about here. We also have more parts for the landing gear itself, as well as for the engine bay. So all of these parts look really great, and the only thing is that you might be a bit more careful with the thin parts because they are very easy to break. Next, we continue with the next sprue and the last one. I'm just checking what is actually included here, because as you remember, the one of the differences for the basic kit is that we do not get the ammo base, so that's why you get the closed wing panels, but you get the separate wing mechanization, which is quite decent for a 1/48 scale kit. Here we also have the cooling panels, and the parts division is done in the accordance of the, I would say, real panel lines, so that's why it looks natural once you get everything together. And here inside, as you can see, the wing edges, they will serve as a guiding element, which is also quite cool, and it should help you with the proper alignment of these things. But that's not all. As you remember, we have the assembly manual, which is packed into the same plastic bag with the decals. I just need to cut through it, and I will give you the closer look at these things. So just give me a moment. In the meantime, I can say that this Thunderbolt is a really decent kit. I mean, if you get in the basic set, I think it might be even recommended to beginners. And maybe one of the main advantages is that you are not getting the PE parts. So those modelers who are afraid of the PE parts, they will be glad to know that here they will not have to deal with such stuff. And well, for the decals, as you can see, a lot of things are actually copied with decals. So if I zoom in and show you what is printed here, as you can see, we have the separate section for the cockpit, and also we have the separate decal sheet for the stencil. So just give me a second. I will show you what we have here. Here it is. And the stencils are also good looking, so after all it's a cartograph, so that's why you don't have to worry about any printing issues. The only question is to apply this, and it will be a tedious procedure for sure, so this is something what you cannot avoid if you would like to get a nice result. Next we continue with assembly manual. So here I'm closing lenses even more because this is a color printed brochure, and here on the first page we have the list of the features. Next we have the first marking option here. I think that's not the one which was on the box art, but it's from Philippines 1945. Then we have the parts map. Here we continue also with another page of the parts map and colors chart, and then assembly process starts with the cockpit. As you remember, a lot of things in the cockpit will be replicated with help of decals. And then we also have the, just give me a second, I want to check this page. So yeah, so the next thing is that we are continuing with the tail landing gear, and then we have here the cockpit assembly. So the cockpit assembly goes inside the fuselage, and as you can see, it's quite a straightforward process as long as you pay attention to how those parts are going together. The same goes for the engine. As I said, the engine is nicely detailed out of the box, so with some careful painting it might be worth exposing it, and what I would recommend is just to assemble the cowling separately and then just to try to make it removable, even though here I can see that it is installed into special installation slots, so might be a bit tricky. But what is cool is that you can assemble the landing gear in close position. This is something what we do not see that often even today. And next we continue with the main landing gear. So the same, you can assemble the closed position, and as you can see, then everything goes around the fuselage, so you assemble all of the things in place. Here we continue with the tanks. So again, you can choose the loadout scheme, whether you would like to see the tanks or the bombs on your aircraft. We have the stenciling guide on the next page. Another page is dedicated to the second marking option from Philippines 1945, and here's the third marking option which was on the box art, again from Philippines 1945. So I guess this one is quite colorful, and thanks to the nose art it might be fun to replicate in 1/48 scale, but of course the final decision is up to you. And this kit should be already available. You can get it in Modelimex, and of course I will be happy to hear your opinion here. Write it in the comment section, and I will see you in the next video review as usual. Thank you for joining me today, and bye.